everybody. Hello, hello. Now is my time to remind you to put your phones on silent or vibrate. Greetings, everybody. It's a full house out there. It's a full house on stage. Welcome to our Studio Milwaukee session brought to you by Transfer Pizzeria Cafe. Last night, this band played 2 sold-out shows at Collectivo Back Room, and were kind enough to stick around for us this morning, so thank you for coming in early, and thank you for being here. Welcome to Studio Milwaukee, San Fermin.
You're listening to San Fermin at Studio Milwaukee on 88.9 Radio Milwaukee.
Father, when you leave, you read it wrong, a bold-faced fever. You've stolen everything you believe. No face for beating, watch you grow thinner. No steady stream of human life. Now you're leeching blood, you red-mouthed sinner, chasing anything into the night. Cairo, come back home. 28 days of delirium. He's a crowd and two is in love, and I can't sleep alone. Cairo, oh my soul, and 28 nights and now I know. Can't get by and I can't let go, and I can't sleep alone.
Keep it going for San Fermin. First of all, I want to thank you for sticking around. You guys played 2 sold-out shows last night, and we're kind enough to stay here to do this today. So thank you for that.
Of course.
And we missed you when you were here for Summerfest because there was some sort of plane connection that got missed. So we're glad you guys were able to join us.
Yeah, we were happy to make it up to you a couple months late.
Thank you. So Ellis, you've taken a different step with your songwriting in this record. You're not detached. You're not using other characters from books or movies. You're inserting yourself into the songs. Was that something that was a conscious decision for you, or how did that come about?
I think I just didn't want to write the same record over and over again, you know. And I think the first record and the second record are both kind of distinct in what they were trying to do, and there's a little bit more of like a literary aspect to it or something. And for this record, I was just kind of, I was like, oh, I'll just try to write some like sort of songs in the more traditional sense. And I was able to. I felt more confident as a songwriter having put out a couple records. So I figured, all right, let's see what I can kind of mine from my own life without messing it up too much.
Does that make it dicier for you? Like
little
now
bit,
you know
for
you're under the
sure.
microscope and this is you.
Yeah, but also, I mean, there's already a remove because, Alan, Charlene, and Claire are the ones singing these songs.
Sure.
And so there's a little bit, no matter what, these songs are going to be
A little detached.
a little detached. And also, I've been told multiple times that the lyrics are a little bit inscrutable anyway, so it's kind of fine.
There's still a little mask, a
Yeah,
little
exactly.
opacity to it. So Bride is based on a dissociative event at a wedding. Is this a true story?
I was not the bride, but
Okay.
yes,
That would make it even more interesting, though. Yeah.
I was just a spectator, but I did have a very weird experience at a wedding, and that was the inspiration for this.
How did you handle it at the time? I've never had a dissociative experience. So.
Sort of, I don't know. I think I kind of just, luckily at a wedding, if you're not the one getting married, no one really expects much out
True.
of you.
No one
So,
cares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of sat there and let it pass, but it was pretty weird.
Excellent. Well, you were able to mine it and use it for a song. So.
Yeah, there you go.
So you're the rare band leader that actually studied composition. Lawyers have to go to law school, doctors have to go to medical school, musicians don't have to go to composition school to learn how to write songs. So how do you think your approach is different having studied composition?
Well, I don't sing, so I have to bring something to the table. So I kind of, so I basically, when I bring songs to the band, like I really like to think of this band as 8 sort of equal parts compositionally, as well as personally. And so, these songs, there'll be moments where saxophones feature, the trumpets feature, the violins feature, and always the parts are trying to kind of like have their own narrative arc over the course of the song. So I think that that's maybe one way that I use that kind of training, but also there's this sort of funny thing where we have these 8 amazing musicians, and like they all don't like I don't want them to be bored,
Right.
So you kind of like you try to come up with something with them that kind of suits their style of playing.
And so are you writing all the parts then, or are you just kind of putting the
way that it works is that I write the songs basically like there's like a score that we record from. Though there's a certain amount of as the band has gone on, there's been more sort of input and collaboration from everyone. But the live show really is where I think people's kind of personalities get to show out, and a lot of the stuff that you'll hear live is different than the records, and it has more to do with people's own sort of musical identities, I guess.
So when you studied composition, how far back? What's the curriculum like? Is it just like all?
Yeah. Well, it was kind of like on the one hand you're studying theory that's like you're looking at like Schubert Lieder and things like that, like just old songs and classical pieces that basically are put together in this sort of certain way. And then on the other side, you're seeing all this like contemporary music that's being written that seems to be totally fly in the face of that. It's totally different.
Sure.
And over the course of studying, you have to sort of find your own way and figure out how to put those things together. And for me, that didn't really happen until actually after I finished studying.
Well, I know that you also work with a ballet. What are your contemporaries from school up to these days?
They kind of went one way or another. They're either like, sort of doing more traditionally sort of academic classical composition, or they're like in pop bands.
Yeah.
And it's kind of split. I think we're one of the only bands that kind of tries to ride that line, at least from the milieu that I came up with.
Sure. Now, with a band this big, it probably presents some logistical issues.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any?
Yeah. It's a little bit like taking like your 8th grade English class on a field trip every time you go out.
How many people have gotten left behind at a gas station?
Yeah, right there. This guy.
And how far did you get before you realized he was back at the gas
It was our
station?
first trip to London, and we flew into the airport, and we all got our bags, and he told Alan, "I'm going to the bathroom. Don't leave without me." And then Alan was just like, "All right, cool," and we just left. And we got on a train, like we went to like the next station, and then suddenly oh my God. And so our manager had to go back to the airport and do that thing that you do in grocery stores with like little kids, like where they call, you know, over the
Sure.
loudspeaker. and Mike found his way.
Did you get to ride on like a cool golf cart at least, like speeding through the airport? No.
None of
Because
the
that would have at
glamour.
least made it worthwhile. You know, you get on the golf cart and they're just, yeah.
Yeah.
So, is it tough to blend in when you are actually all together? Like you go to a restaurant and everyone's like, oh, look, there's a band in the restaurant.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've had a lot of experiences getting out at like Starbucks or whatever, and you'll come in and someone will just go, "What are you?" It's like, yeah, like we're a band.
We're a mining coalition.
Yeah. Right. We've started. Yeah, I think Mike started telling people we were a band of traveling young geographers, I think, or geologists. Yeah.
Throw them off the scent just a little bit.
Geologists, Yeah.
So what's next? You're kind of, this album's almost a year old now. You're probably in the end of the touring cycle. Are you already working on the next record, or?
Not yet, really.
No?
We have a few more shows on this one. We have some big ones on the West Coast and a couple festivals, and then I'm gonna start thinking about writing the next record, probably early summer, late spring, early summer.
Cool. So normally I would tell everyone to come see their show tonight at Colectivo's back room, but you guys already performed last night and we're kind of to stick around. Can we get one more song from San Fermin?
Sure thing.
San Fermin on Studio Milwaukee.
Hey honey, are you giving up? Hey honey, you look a little tired now. Wasn't very long ago, we were wolfing down America, living in the undergrowth and buzzing in the night. On and round the circle. Up and down, we're floating all the time. I promise you, if you follow me around, I won't let you down. I won't let you down. They're wondering who's to save me now. Your promises. Hey honey, I know it's been a while. Hey honey, I wouldn't blame you if you turned around. On and round the circle. Up and down, we're floating on the tide. I won't promise you if you follow me around. I won't let you down. I won't let you down. We're wondering who's to say if we'll be found. No promises, no Pack your bags, leave your home, drive all night, do it for me. Change your clothes, hold your clothes, cut your ties, do it for me. Wet your lips, dry your tears, drink your doubts, do it for me. Race to youth, count your years, lose yourself, do it for me. Pack your bags, leave your home, drive all night, do it for me. Change your clothes, hold your clothes, cut your ties, do it for me. Wet your lips, dry your tears, drink your doubts,
San Fermin on Studio Milwaukee on 88.9 Radio Milwaukee. Thank you again for being here. Super kind to stick around. We also want to thank Transfer, Pizzeria Cafe, Stone Creek Coffee, Pabst Theater Group for hosting this band last night, and Lodi, our engineer. Thank you to all of you who make this possible. All of you members of Radio Milwaukee, thank you so much. For 88.9 Radio Milwaukee, I'm Ken Sumka. I'm going to send it back to the studio.